Tonight on CTV News at 6, the cost of a COVID shot. Balancing public health and the public purse.
We're the only place in Canada that's telling people that they have to pay out of pocket to get a COVID vaccine.
Closed roads and visible security ahead of a controversial concert at the Alberta Legislature. And Alberta's 55-plus provincial games are underway.
It's amazing because it gives me hope that I can do it for, the next 40 years as well.
Sunshine and temperatures warming up into the mid to upper 20s through this weekend, even hotter next week.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. We begin tonight at the Alberta Legislature, where a crowd has gathered for a concert this evening by a controversial artist. Sean Feucht is expected to take the stage any minute now. His fans, not the only group there. Protesters are rallying against the show. Our Brendan Purdy is live from the Legislature. Brendan, how are things going leading up to that show?
Well, Jeff, things have picked up substantially in the last hour, and then again, another large ramp up in just the last 10 minutes. If you can look over to my left, there are well over 1,000 concert goers here, and Sean has just about taken the stage. But then as we pan over to the right, they are not the only people here, as many protesters have recently pulled into the event, and they are quite loud. Now, there are also plenty of security guards, sheriffs, all around this pathway here between the demonstration area and the concert area, and they've been scattered around the lawn. It's not just the sheriffs, but also security provided by event staff. Now, both protesters and event staff that we spoke to were just wanting to get their message heard.
Whether it's just one person or whether it's as many people as they can get, our goal is to have Sean see us and to see that there's people who see him for what he is, who see his rhetoric for what it is, who see that he and his kind of bigoted rhetoric is a danger to people that I care about.
Now, Jeff, both parties that I spoke with just really simply wanted to have their message out and their opinion heard in a peaceful manner. Now, us, including the media, all of the media that is present here, we were told that Sean was going to be made available to speak with all of us before things began. However, that talk was canceled shortly before going to air. Jeff?
All right, Brendan, thank you. It's Brendan Purdy live for us tonight. Now, if you're healthy and want a COVID shot this fall, be prepared to fork over $100. The province announcing the price today after warning for weeks the change was coming. The Premier says it's about limiting waste, while health experts warn the financial barrier comes with consequences. Jeremy Thompson reports.
For the love of God, please get vaccinated now. And if you do, we will now pay you $100.
4 years ago, then Premier Jason Kenney was begging Albertans to take the COVID vaccine, offering $100 as incentive. Now the dough will flow the other way.
This was a vaccine that was covered for 3 years by the federal government, and they chose to stop funding it. And so we had to make an assessment of what it would cost us.
Premier Danielle Smith says fewer and fewer Albertans are getting the COVID vaccine, and by ordering in advance, the province is paying for hundreds of thousands of doses to go in the garbage instead of Albertans' arms.
What we found last year was that 54% of the doses were spoiled.
To offset the waste, Albertans are being asked to pre-book their COVID shots by September 30th, and most will have to pay $100.
We're the only place in Canada that's telling people that they have to pay out of pocket to get a COVID vaccine. That is embarrassing and it's dangerous.
One health policy professor believes the government's decision is short-sighted.
By attaching any amount of money to it, the government is sending a message that it's not necessary, it's not that important, you really don't need to bother with this.
Lorian Hardcastle says the cost will mean more Albertans will choose to forego the vaccine, which leads to a different kind of waste, unnecessary hospitalizations, and lost productivity.
COVID rates will rise when cold and flu season comes, and that will put additional pressure on hospitals. So there's good public reason to cover those kinds of vaccinations.
Some Albertans are still eligible for a free COVID shot, including healthcare workers, people in long-term care, low-income seniors, those with underlying health conditions, and more.
But now, how are people going to prove that they meet that criteria?
You can still get a free COVID vaccine if you're healthy and willing to travel. Both BC and Manitoba say Albertans are welcome to get the jab there. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Meanwhile, it appears the spread of measles is slowing down in Alberta, but doctors say we shouldn't let our guard down. With the start of school right around the corner, the outbreak could quickly worsen. Nicole Weisberg reports.
Outside this West Edmonton Staples, families have their hands full preparing for the start of school.
We are shopping in the madness, back to school stuff.
Among the pencils, binders, and duotangs, Kleenex. The return to class can also mean the return of frequent illness.
Were you sick last year quite a bit?
A lot of times. Now is a really good time for people to start thinking about reevaluating all of their immunizations.
As Alberta deals with its worst measles outbreak in nearly half a century, this medical officer of health says ongoing spread in a school environment is a concern.
Because they are a little bit more close knit and in close proximity to one another.
Measles is one of the most highly communicable infectious diseases. It spreads through the air, and doctors say the virus can persist in a space up to 2 hours after a person who is infected has left.
It is a vaccine-preventable viral illness that can have many complications, including ear infections, pneumonia, but more of the severe things, including delayed neurological development.
There have been nearly 1,800 measles cases in Alberta so far this year, after reaching a peak of 142 new cases the week of July 13th. Confirmed cases have slowed.
I think it's encouraging, but again, I would strongly recommend including some vigilance.
Is this a concern for you at all?
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Why is that?
They're vaccinated for it when they were little.
And with an efficacy rate of 97%, doctors say vaccination remains the best tool to stop the outbreak before it picks back up. Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
Investigators have deemed the disappearance of an Edmonton teen suspicious. Samuel Bird was last seen June 1st leaving a friend's home in the West End. The 14-year-old hasn't been heard from since. For weeks, family and supporters have been conducting searches. The Confederacy of Treaty 6 First Nations has asked police to designate Samuel's case as a search and recovery and says this will allow the family to access more resources for search efforts. Anyone with information on Bird's disappearance is asked to contact police. The University of Alberta is celebrating a summer of Indigenous research. 19 undergraduates from across Western Canada are being recognized for their environmental research. Their studies include science, environmental engineering, and environmental law. One project focused on assessing wildfire hazards in First Nation communities. Another explored the environmental threats polar bears face. The students hope their research will help with their future careers.
The research sector in your education is probably the most important. That experience of actually doing it and like doing something that you're gonna actually do after school is like the biggest thing. So by getting your foot in the door and actually doing it, you're gonna be a lot more passionate and a lot more motivated to do better in school and to just learn more.
To see the change and the transformation that it creates in the lives of students, and also to see the opportunities that come.
The research program is a 16-week paid summer internship for First Nations, Métis, and Inuit students. The Edmonton International Fringe Festival says its ticket sales this year have hit pre-pandemic levels. The executive director of the Fringe says they've already sold 13,000 more tickets than all of last year. The festival still has one more weekend of performances. Like many arts organizations, the Fringe was facing financial challenges after the COVID-19 pandemic. Last year, it launched a monthly subscription program to secure ongoing funding. The festival says the number of subscribers has grown from 34 at the beginning to more than 650. Organizers say every little bit helps.
Certainly, the outpouring of support from our community has helped us build a more stable foundation from which we can continue to support the Edmonton International Fringe Theatre Festival. The challenge is not solved for yet. We absolutely need our community to continue to invest in what makes our city a vibrant place to live, work, play, and visit. And, we mean it when we say even just $5 a month every month helps.
DART says subscribers will also get early access to tickets for next year's Fringe shows. There's a new kind of performance for people at Fringe today, a local artist bringing a mural to life on a sea can. He says while murals are often inspirational, this one was meant to be strictly for fun.
I really appreciate artists like that, and sometimes for me I like to just do something that's just fun. So this mural itself is just a bunch of things that I like, a bunch of things that mean something to me and things that I do, and it's more or less here just to make people smile.
The mural was painted as part of a collaboration between the Fringe and the Edmonton Mural Festival. That was a nice day to walk around Old Strathcona, Josh.
Yeah, and looks like the weekend weather will cooperate as well. Temperatures in the mid to upper 20s. We get to 23 for a high today, so it's getting even hotter through the course of the weekend, and almost every day next week should be up around 30 degrees. It's 22 downtown Edmonton right now. Beautiful evening underway. We've got light wind to go along with fairly clear skies. 23, the daytime high puts us a degree above average, and the morning low 10 degrees. Just slightly cooler than average. All in all, pretty close to average, though, for August 22nd. This is what it looks like outside right now with the CTV drone, and you can see lots of blue sky out there. Skies will stay clear right through the remainder of this evening and overnight tonight, and there is not much in the way of cloud cover, and certainly no precipitation in the forecast for the Edmonton region over the next 5 to 7 days. We do have some clouds, though, and some scattered showers across parts of northern Alberta, and some of those showers may track into the Fort McMurray region. But for us, just a few clouds through this evening, clearing overnight tonight, and then sunny, light wind, and about 25 or 26 for a daytime high tomorrow. Look at this long-range forecast. You get to the high 20s for Sunday, Monday, and 30s and 31s in the forecast from Tuesday through Friday, and even right into the first few days of September. Daytime highs are not just way above average, but close to 30. This will be the longest stretch of summertime heat that we've had so far the entire summer. I have to wait till the end of August to get it, but it's finally here.
Looks great. Thanks, Josh. Coming up, a warning about the targeting of kids in a popular online game.
As soon as you join, there's like a group of them all there waiting.
Growing backlash against Roblox as the developer making some changes also.
It makes it a very welcoming space for people who might not have felt welcome in some spaces before. So I think it really puts our best foot forward.
A Pride crosswalk makes a return outside Concordia University.
By Southview Acura. For family-owned, award-winning excellence, Southview Acura, where luxury meets reality.
The developer of the popular online game Roblox is facing a string of lawsuits over child safety concerns. It came to light recently that an online extremism network uses gaming platforms like Roblox to target vulnerable children. One Alberta teen targeted on the platform believes more should be done to protect kids like her. CTV's Terry Fikowski reports.
It's a wildly popular game where more than 111 million monthly users can play and create in virtual worlds. That includes a Calgary teen who joined Roblox when she was 8 years old, but now at 17 recognizes she was being preyed upon by online predators.
As soon as you join, there's like a group of them all there waiting.
CTV is not identifying the teen for her safety. She's previously been doxxed, where users shared her and her friends' personal information, flooding them with hateful messages.
Your Instagram, social media, anything like that, and then just tell everyone to go after you.
She says she's frequently approached by older adult users who make sexual comments or try to pressure her to take drugs, but has been lucky not to fall victim.
I've known people that have committed suicide because of people harassing them over Roblox.
It's stories like that leading to lawsuits against developers, including the state of Louisiana, which sued Roblox last week, accusing it of creating an environment where predators thrive and victimize kids. The platform refutes the claims in a statement saying, "The assertion that Roblox would intentionally put our users at risk of exploitation is categorically untrue," adding it has implemented rigorous safeguards to help protect our community. But many tech experts believe developers could be doing more.
Platforms that make money off children ought to spend money on protecting children. They have a moral responsibility to have a security department that's watching for the bad stuff and shutting it down, because they can shut it down.
The Canadian Centre for Child Protection says it's seeing an increase in reports involving Roblox, with more than 130 this year alone.
This is still the tip of the iceberg. There are often very many cases that are going unreported where kids are being contacted by those that are seeking to offend against them.
Corporal Heather Bangle with Southern Alberta's Internet Child Exploitation Unit says if your kids are online, they need to know the risks.
Wherever there's kids, there's predators. It is more about educating them about how to stay safe online.
For the Calgary teen, the damage has been done, but she hopes speaking out will spark change.
I just think that Roblox really needs to change its policies and do better.
Terry Fikowski, CTV News, Calgary.
Roblox did not respond to CTV's request for comment on our story. The site has recently added some additional safety measures, including a new AI system to detect predatory language in chats in addition to its parental protection options. Students and staff at Concordia University are reviving the school's Pride Crosswalk.
I think it's really good to have this crosswalk here. You know, it's kind of the first thing you see when you're walking up, and it makes it a very welcoming space for people who might not have felt welcome in some spaces before. So I think it really puts our best foot forward and makes this a place that feels safe.
We want all of our students to feel comfortable and welcome here at Concordia, and I think that having this at the front of one of our main buildings is a really concrete demonstration of that.
The crosswalk is refreshed every year ahead of the new school year. Concordia says they encourage an open space for all students. A wolf dog sanctuary west of Cochrane will be getting provincial funding to help upgrade some of its facilities. The money comes from the government's Community Enhancement Fund. $125,000 will help the Yamnuska Wolf Dog Sanctuary upgrade its day use and interpretive areas. The construction is already underway. Staff say the upgrades help as they're also adding to its wolf dog pack.
This year, we have already carried out 2 different rescues. We rescued a pack of 10 wolf dogs in April. We just brought in 2 new wolf dogs a few weeks ago, and we have another rescue slated for later in October. So it's been a busy year.
There are currently more than 50 wolf dogs living at the sanctuary. Still ahead, it's game on for hundreds of Albertans.
We actually had a lady, 102, that won the javelin, and she complained to me because she had to play against 85-year-old kids.
A competitive bunch as the Alberta 55-plus provincial games are underway.
Time to start preparing for the heat, whether you love it or you hate it. Mid to upper 20s this weekend, but near 30 every single day next week. Complete look at that forecast right after the break.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law. Programming brought to you by Century Casino, 3 great locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Hundreds of Albertans are competing in all kinds of different sports in Leduc this weekend at the 55-plus provincial games. As Merrick DeCash explains, the friendships are as tight as the competition.
Douglas Campbell has been competing in the Alberta 55-plus provincial games for 17 years. The 78-year-old has plenty of trips to nationals under his belt.
In ice curling in Nova Scotia, in floor shuffleboard in New Brunswick, in lawn bowling in Ontario, and in British Columbia.
31 different events take place at the games, including cornhole, cycling, and tennis.
We actually had a lady, 102, that won the javelin, and she complained to me because she had to play against 85-year-old kids.
Bob Storrs is making his debut at the games after turning 55 earlier this year.
We just met 2 minutes ago through this. This is how you meet a lot of people. It's just new people coming out to these kind of tournaments all across Alberta.
He's one of 1,200 athletes participating.
For a young guy at 55 right now to play and meet great people has just been a great opportunity.
And our events are competitive and they're sports related, but they're also other events. So we have bridge and we have photography and we have swimming, track. So it kind of like gives all age abilities and mobility abilities to compete still.
Organizer Cindy Carstairs says watching the athletes compete is inspiring.
It's amazing because it gives me hope that I can do it for, the next 40 years as well.
The games run until Sunday. Merrick DeCash, CTV News, Leduc.
Oh gosh, do you think there's more people happy we're about to get a long hot stretch, or more people who are like, you know what, this cool summer was okay, I can deal with it?
I think it's about 50-50 based on the people I've talked to who are either saying this was the worst summer ever or the best summer ever. So, as we said right before the break, whether you love it or you hate it, the heat's coming, so figure out a way to deal with it. It is going. We'll probably have some heat warnings issued for next week, as it is going to be a lengthy stretch of days near 30. Action Furnace River Valley Skycam. Action Furnace, fixed right, it's free. Sunny with some thin cloud cover out there right now. We're at 22 degrees after hitting 23 for a daytime high earlier this afternoon. This would be the coolest day we see for the remainder of this month. Will be above 25 every single day. In fact, we've only had 4 consecutive days, 27 or hotter this entire summer. We could go 8 or 9 straight days, 27 or hotter. It's 19 in Lloydminster for a high today and 24s in Jasper and Grand Prairie, so slightly warmer in those areas. You do have this low pressure system bringing some scattered showers to parts of north and northwestern Alberta. That'll drop a few showers towards Fort McMurray. I think most of it falls apart before it hits Fort McMurray, but overnight tonight or early tomorrow morning, you might see a couple sprinkles in that area. Edmonton, the rest of surrounding regions, the rest of the province, clear skies overnight tonight, and sunny with a few clouds for tomorrow afternoon. And again on Sunday, you have this big upper ridge. This is warm, really warm air in the mid and upper levels. And so what that does, 2 things. One, you get the heat at the surface, but because it's so warm aloft, you just don't have any storms building up despite the heat. So we're not going to be in a pattern where it gets hot in the afternoon and then you get some storms in the evening and it cools off overnight. It is just going to stay hot and dry for the next little while. Any storms that do try and develop are going to get driven well to the north. And look at this thing, just stick around. This is Thursday of next week, and it still doesn't look like it's really breaking down all that much. So, as we showed you earlier in the newscast, and we'll bring it back in a second, the 10-day forecast has some near record highs for a string of days next week. 20 degrees in Fort McMurray right now. It's 24 in Grand Prairie and Jasper, 21 in Red Deer, and 22 here in Edmonton with light wind across most of the province. And wind will be light overnight tonight and through the day tomorrow out of the south-southeast at about 5, maybe at times 10 kilometers per hour. So you're not even getting a breeze. Light wind as well on Sunday, and even warmer Sunday. Tomorrow, 11 degrees in the morning, up to 25 in the afternoon. Sunday, 27 or 28 with mainly sunny skies. And then your morning lows will be in the mid-teens, it looks like, for next week as daytime highs get even hotter. 28 or 29 Monday, and a string of days around 30 or 31 from Tuesday through Friday of next week. Still in the high 20s, close to 30, right through the end of August and into early September. So get set, whether you love it or hate it, as we said, get set. It is going to be hot, and it's going to be hot for a while.
Thank you, Josh. The FIFA World Cup is still nearly a year away. Vancouver is one of the host cities. Not only are accommodations being snapped up quickly, what's left is going up in price. CTV's St. Alexander reports.
Vancouver will welcome some 350,000 visitors in June and July. They'll be taking in the festivities, maybe the latest match. And at night, they'll need a place to stay. Yet long before FIFA gets underway, there's already a competition for hotel rooms. CTV News looked for accommodation in the downtown core. We focused on the city's opening match weekend, June 12th to 15th, and rooms with 2 beds. Comparing prices directly with hotels and third-party websites, here's what we found. The Hyatt was one of the most competitive, $1,053 a night. A 2-bedroom suite at the Century Plaza, more than $1,600. The Opus, nearing $2,400. And Le Soleil, and even $2,500 a night. True, these are higher-end hotels, but all the more affordable rooms are gone. Over in Fairview, it's $1,100 at the Holiday Inn. Now, we saw similar demand when Taylor Swift was in town.
90 reservations last night, and today we continue to get reservations.
And city politicians have long known Vancouver needs more hotels. In fact, there are fewer now than there were only 5 years ago.
We don't have enough rooms, or they're too expensive.
In the spring, councillors amended the hotel policy, hoping to encourage development.
New hotels could deliver more than 5,400 direct hospitality jobs, up to 8,000 indirect jobs, and more than $200 million in annual tax revenue.
Of Of course, this won't do much to help the FIFA crunch. We compared the prices at the same hotels exactly 2 months later in August. The Hyatt, $500 cheaper. The Century Plaza, more than $1,000. And the Opus, a fraction of the cost. Imagine now if Vancouver was hosting all the games. St. John Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
Still ahead, Canada dropping its counter tariffs on certain American goods.
We have the best deal of any country with the United States right now.
More on which goods those are and the reasoning behind the decision in a few minutes. Plus,
I checked and it's not there. And I went, okay, no breakfast.
Some disability payments delayed, meaning some Canadians are scrambling to make up for a lack of funds.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is taking a new approach in stalled trade talks with the United States. The Prime Minister announced Canada will remove retaliatory tariffs on some products that comply with the existing North American Free Trade Deal. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more from Ottawa.
After a phone call with the American president yesterday, the Prime Minister is now trying to sell Canadians on the idea that no new deal with the United States is actually the best trade deal in the world.
We're matching what the United States has done, what the president has done. We have the best deal of any country with the United States right now.
As of September 1st, Canada will drop counter tariffs on U.S. goods covered by CUSMA. Those have been an irritant for Trump, and the Prime Minister indicated that in their Thursday phone call, Trump said getting rid of them would kickstart negotiations. Carney saying they're now intensifying. In the Oval Office, the president now saying he wants to be very good to Canada.
He's removing his retaliatory tariffs, which I thought was nice, and we're going to have another call soon. Yeah, we had a very good call.
You're getting closer towards an agreement on trade?
I like them.
Carney is trying to sell this as matching the U.S., using that word multiple times since the U.S. has no tariffs on CUSMA-exempt goods. But the tariffs that remain from the U.S. on steel and aluminum are higher than Canada's.
We're not raising those today. We've matched the tariffs on autos, similar structure as the U.S. We do have a difference between our tariff on U.S. steel and our tariff on U.S. aluminum. Those are part of the intensive discussions that we're underway right now.
Ahead of the announcement, the Prime Minister brought Cabinet together in a virtual meeting, and the minister responsible for U.S. trade briefed the rest of caucus after. Carney also said the renegotiation of CUSMA could take as long as 18 months to work out. Trade experts say what happens there will be the real issue for the long term. The Prime Minister is also promising a new, quote, industrial strategy in September for all sectors hit by tariffs, mentioning autos and agriculture in particular. The Prime Minister has long talked about diversifying trade partners in the face of the U.S. trade war, and next week he heads to Germany to work on that, bringing along a handful of key ministers with him. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
The FBI has raided the home and office of Donald Trump's former national security advisor in an apparent search for classified documents. John Bolton turned into an outspoken critic of Trump after being fired in 2019. CTV's Judy Trin reports.
Just after dawn, federal agents, armed with a search warrant, showed up at the home of John Bolton, the former national security advisor to Donald Trump. The president said he wasn't aware of the raid.
No, I don't know about it. I saw it on television this morning. I'm not a fan of John Bolton. He's a real sort of a lowlife.
Bolton is reportedly under investigation for mishandling classified information. The head of the FBI, Kash Patel, posted, "No one is above the law." Since being fired by Trump during his first term, Bolton has turned into a fierce critic of the president's foreign policy.
We're at risk of a self-destructive trade war being launched. Putin, KGB agent that he used to be,
sees Trump as an easy mark.
It's unclear what evidence the FBI has. Bolton has not been charged.
This is going to almost certainly be viewed as a selective and vindictive prosecution.
Analysts say the Bolton investigation is part of a pattern of intimidation, the most visible being Trump's deployment of the National Guard in Washington, D.C. to crack down on crime.
It's better than it has been in years. And in a couple of weeks, it's going to be even far better than that.
Hundreds of troops sent by governors of Republican states are now patrolling the Capitol, a city that voted overwhelmingly Democrat.
This is pure political intimidation by Donald Trump. That's what it's about. It is performative politics, but it's going to be very expensive because calling up all these National Guard troops from around the country, and the federal government is going to be footing the bill for this.
Judy Trin, CTV News.
Multiple people are dead after a tour bus returning to New York City from Niagara Falls crashed and rolled on an interstate highway.
At this time, we have multiple fatalities, multiple entrapments, and multiple injuries. You can see behind me the amount of first responders from a lot of different police agencies besides New York State Police.
The crash happened during the noon hour in Pembroke, New York, 45 kilometers east of Buffalo. There were 54 people on the bus. 5 passengers were killed, including a child. The number of injured is unknown. Officials say the bus lost control, hit the median, and flew into a ditch. The bus driver survived and is cooperating with police. New footage shows a Ukrainian attack on a Russian oil pumping station as both countries ramp up assaults on infrastructure targets. Ukraine has stepped up attacks on the sector that finances much of the Kremlin's war effort, with oil and gas accounting for a quarter of Russia's budget proceeds. The almost daily attacks have led to fuel shortages in a number of Russian regions. And as the conflict rages on, Russia is preparing its children for eventual military service at this camp. Kids as young as 8 participate in exercises led by soldiers who've taken part in the war in Ukraine. Some have real weapons, some of them have replicas. The UN has confirmed that famine has taken hold in Gaza City, and if action isn't taken, it will get worse.
It is a famine that asks, but what did you do? A famine that will and must haunt us all.
A new report says more than 500,000 people in the war-torn city are facing starvation, destitution, and death. UN Chief Antonio Guterres calls this situation, quote, a man-made disaster, moral indictment, and a failure of humanity. However, Israel rejects the report, saying the conclusions are based on, quote, Hamas lies and ignore, quote, extensive humanitarian efforts. The report comes as Israel presses forward with its offensive in Gaza. Israel's defense ministry says the city will be destroyed if Hamas does not agree to disarm and release all hostages. There are concerns today for those who rely on disability benefits, with reports that people have not received them. CTV's Adrian Gobriel now on the delay in direct deposits.
Canadians who depend on federal disability benefits have been left with an empty feeling at the ATM this week.
I checked and it's not there, and I went, okay, no breakfast.
In July, Ottawa began making payments through its new federal disability benefit that tops out at $200 a month for a total of $2,400 a year.
It lets them buy some essential over-the-counter painkillers, maybe, pay for their food, pay a backlog of bills and debt, pay their rent.
This past Thursday, Canadians living with a disability, like Victoria State, were supposed to receive the program's second payment. Many have been left empty-handed.
Excuse me, you started a program for people who are struggling.
CTV News called the Canada Disability Benefit Call Centre hotline. We were greeted with this voicemail.
Due to a system issue, some Canada Disability Benefit payments issued by direct deposit for the month of August 2025 will be delayed. We apologize for the inconvenience.
In March, Prime Minister Mark Carney eliminated multiple cabinet positions, including the now former Minister for Diversity, Inclusion, and Persons with Disabilities. Advocates say issues like this are proof that Carney's move was a mistake.
This basically means that we are lumped into a huge portfolio that the current Minister of Jobs and Families is responsible for. So we are not a top priority.
We asked the federal government for an explanation as to why payments haven't been made. A spokesperson didn't directly answer our question, saying in part, they are pleased to confirm that the majority of CDB payments are completed. A limited number of client payments remain outstanding due to an isolated systems issue.
You don't start a program and then drop the ball. Thank you very much. You people are getting a paycheck. You got a paycheck because you can get food. I don't got a paycheck, and I got no food.
There was some good news late this afternoon. Following our questions to the federal government, we began to hear from some who say they've now received their deposits. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Aurora, Ontario.
Still ahead, retail sales seeing a slight uptick in Canada. What analysts have to say about this growth given the trade war with the U.S. Checking on the markets, the Canadian dollar is up, trading for 72 cents U.S. Oil gained 14 cents, closing the day at $63.66 U.S. a barrel. Gold jumped by nearly $37 on the day. The TSX ended higher, up 277 points. The Dow Jones also jumped, gaining 846. Encouraging signs from Canada's economy today as June numbers show an increase in retail sales by more than 1.5%. Here's CTV's Kemal Karamali now on why the growth when many predicted a recession.
Retail analysts say this growth doesn't necessarily show signs of a super strong economy, but it's not as bad as many expected given the trade war. Retail sales rose 1.5% to more than $70 billion. That's because all 9 Canadian sectors showing either no change or an increase in sales for June. The sectors with the highest increases compared to May: clothing with over 5% growth, building material with supplies with over 2%, and food and beverage seeing more than a 2% increase in sales. Across the country, Ontario saw one of the biggest retail sale increases at over 3%. Quebec remained unchanged, while BC and Alberta saw 1.5% and 1% increases in sales. In May, retail sales slumped, dropping more than 1%, largely because of a fall in vehicle sales, with tariffs on aluminum and steel and the trade war playing a role. But for June, auto sales remained mostly unchanged, climbing less than 1%.
If we talk about, for things from a consumer standpoint, we are still seeing wage gains happening. The labor market is starting to, contract a little bit, but not a heck of a lot yet. It's mostly concentrated in tariff-related sectors where we're starting to see the bleeding happen. And so as a result, consumers are still spending.
As for July, Statistics Canada says retail sales are expected to drop by 0.8%. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Chinese motorcycle maker Cove is shifting into the Canadian market, and it's chosen an Alberta town for its head office. Family-run Cove Moto and Carstairs is the sole Canadian distributor for the Chinese-built brand. After a lengthy certification process, the company now has bikes in a dozen dealerships across Canada, with plans to nearly double that number by the year's end. The company says its motorcycles are not affected by tariffs that could soon hit Chinese-made cars.
China had a stigma and reputation of building not bad, but lower price bikes, and you get what you pay for, in a sense. The conversation is definitely shifting now, especially around Cove, because they've proved themselves around the world as durable, long-lasting, and quality race machines.
Cove Moto's Canadian team says the adventure motorcycle segment is the fastest-growing part of the industry. Pigeon Lake is combining a pair of Alberta favorites this weekend, camping and live music. This is the second edition of the Pigeon Lake concert series this year. Rock music is the event's showcase. Glorious Sons and Dylan James will take the stage, among others. While tickets are still available, they're not expected to last long.
We have sold out the last 3 years for the Pigeon Lake Music Festival, so we thought we'd bring something different to the table.
And music is not all the event has to offer.
you can enjoy all of our fun activities like a water balloon fight. We have a night market. We have the dueling pianos, the world famous dueling pianos here on Friday night, and that's a free show for everybody. So yeah, there's a lot going on this weekend.
The concert series and events are open to everyone. Kids under 12 get in for free. An Alberta teen hoping to one day become a doctor got quite the surprise when she applied to different universities.
I burst into tears, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a doctor.
More on the 19-year-old who applied to 7 different schools and got acceptance letters from all of them.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV, starting at 7 with E-Talk.
A 19-year-old from Grand Prairie got a little more than she expected when she applied to 7 Canadian university medical programs. She was accepted into all of them. Kevin Fleming reports.
She's the youngest in her class of 180 students at the Cummings School of Medicine. Aura Maxwell is 19 and applied to UBC, U of A, U of C, Dalhousie, the University of Toronto, along with Western and McMaster universities. She was accepted to all of them.
I FaceTimed my mom. She was jumping around. She was screaming. I called the rest of my siblings and my dad as well. I told my friends. And it was just the most surreal feeling. I burst into tears. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be a doctor.
It's not easy getting into med school. Applicants need a grade point average of 3.90 and an undergrad degree that typically takes 4 years. Dua Fatima is in Maxwell's class and says it's a challenging process for everyone who wants to become a doctor.
But to be able to get into 7 is insane, because then that means she got into out of province schools where the margin to get in is incredibly small. It's 1 or 2 applicants sometimes in some of these schools.
Maxwell chose the U of C because she's from Alberta and likes the flexibility of the program that's similar to Queen's University, where she finished her undergrad a year early, thanks in part to her mentors.
And it's amazing just to continue to watch her journey and continue to watch her journey into the future.
But it was a sort of excited, energetic curiosity that maybe this is someone really made for enjoying the sciences and enjoying education and learning.
Maxwell's mom is proud of what her daughter has accomplished before turning 20.
It's amazing, not just for the achievement that she's made, but the work that she's put into it, her dedication in it.
Maxwell says she fell in love with medicine at Queen's and is excited at the prospect of becoming a doctor one day. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
The warming trend began today. We got up to 23 degrees for a high today. We'll climb about 2 degrees tomorrow, 25 tomorrow afternoon. Another 2-degree bump on Sunday, up to about 27. And then right around 30 for daytime highs pretty much all of next week, and mainly sunny skies right through not just the next 5, but probably the next 7 days. Just a little bit of cloud cover starting to roll in there towards the end of next week, but even that does not look like it's going to bring us any showers or thunderstorms. This big upper ridge is going to stick around for a while. We've got a couple days next week, especially I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that'll be really close to record daytime highs. So the heat's coming, and it's going to stick around right through into early September. As we mentioned earlier in the newscast, we've only had 4 consecutive days of 27 or hotter so far this summer. That was the last 2 days of July and the first 2 days of August. Well, now we're going to get a long string of days there, 27 or hotter starting Sunday and carrying right through into September.
Looks great. Thanks, Josh, and thank you very much for sharing your time with us. For news anytime, visit ctvnewsedmonton.ca or the CTV channel on YouTube. See ya.